Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Spring football on the horizon for Matt Rhule and this Nebraska Cornhuskers program. And when spring ball kicks off, that also means this staff getting to work, building that 2025 class out. And I want to talk about the top quarterback target for this Nebraska program in that 2025 class, and that is four-star quarterback TJ Lateef from the state of California. And this is a guy that we're going to turn on the film. You are going to see a couple of different things. One, an extremely live arm. This ball just jumps out of his hands. He can attack the deeper third extremely well. You're also going to see just kind of that gunslinger mentality. This is a guy that is not afraid to fit it into small windows, makes a lot of NFL caliber throws on the junior film. Really exciting quarterback. And we always stress the importance of getting your quarterback locked in early throughout this recruiting process. You go back 12 months ago when Danny Kaelin locks into Nebraska, he starts getting to work building that 2024 class out. And I largely credit Danny Kaelin with a substantial amount of commitments that Nebraska got in that 2024 class. You hope to lock in TJ Lateef early, a guy that was offered by Nebraska early February, sets up his official visit for that Nebraska spring game. And I'll say this, I think the best weapon Nebraska has on the recruiting trail is getting guys in for that spring game. You talk about the best spring game atmosphere across the landscape of college football, that happens in Lincoln, Nebraska, right? These guys can go out and visit USC on the West Coast. You can go down to Alabama. You're not going to get a better spring game atmosphere than Nebraska. Some of the best fans across the country. And I think TJ Lateef visiting Nebraska for that spring game is massive. And it does sound like Nebraska is the leader in the clubhouse for quarterback TJ Lateef. Want to get into the film, talk a little bit about what he brings to the table before we do. And as always, just want to say thank you to you guys. And y'all know I am a massive fan of talking this Nebraska program. Cannot thank you guys enough for all the support you guys have shown the boys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And as this recruiting trail plays out, we're going to be talking about a lot of prospects, taking visits to Nebraska, and obviously breaking down all the commitments that happen. And without further ado, let's get into TJ Lateef. And I want to get into the film, but I want to talk a little bit about what we are going to see on the film. And the thing that stands out with TJ Lateef the most for me, and he has all the arm talent in the world, right? You see him attack that deeper third extremely well. You see him attack the boundary well, which is a throw that a lot of high school quarterbacks struggle with. The thing that stands out to me the most is he really balances playing within the offense with also creating plays when they're not there. And I kind of stress that balance because at the high school level, you kind of get two things. One, a quarterback that's playing within the offense but doesn't really have the athleticism to extend plays and kind of create something out of nothing. But you also see a lot of quarterbacks that don't really play within the offense. They're just kind of out there playing backyard football, creating with their legs. TJ Lateef balances that out extremely well. Now, getting into the film, I want to talk about a couple different things that we see. The first thing that you kind of notice is how easy the arm talent is for TJ Lateef. It is effortless for him to push the ball down to that deeper third, and he's extremely accurate doing so, right? Throwing with anticipation. This ball jumps out of his hands. Not a big window to fit this one in. And TJ Lateef puts it right on the money, hits his wide receiver in stride. Play action here. Again, easy power across the middle of the field, hits his receiver in stride for the touchdown. You see a lot of really high caliber throws, and this is kind of how you want to see this Nebraska offense look, right? This rep, you're seeing the ball come out extremely quick to a tight window, to that tight end up the seam. You look at how you want this Nebraska offense to look over the next couple of years. It's establishing that run and then working that seam with your athletic tight ends, whether it's Thomas Fedoni, whether it's Carter Nelson. Nebraska's going to have tight ends who are weapons. And if you can have a quarterback that is comfortable working the seam, working the middle of the field, that's absolutely massive. The ball comes out extremely quick. Another thing that you see, this is one of the probably the most impressive throw that you see on his film. This window is, there's no window at all. There's one spot that he can put this football, and he absolutely puts it on the money, back shoulder. And you also see him throw with some really good anticipation, right? This rep right here, he's going to throw this football before his receivers even out of the break, right? You talk about throwing your receivers open. You're playing modern day, one of the best high school teams in the country. You're not going to have easy throws. You're going to have to make those high caliber throws. He throws it before his receiver even gets out of his break, looks for it. That ball lands right in the bucket, right? Short window. You got to throw with anticipation. You see him go over Go over his processing. Again, attacking the deeper third is where he excels. This rep you see, and again, you talk about Nebraska using their quarterbacks in a lot of different ways. You got to be able to throw off platform. You have to be able to throw on the run. You see two things here. One, the accuracy that he has on the run. Two, the arm power. I mean, he is going to drive this in. A couple of the other reps, you saw him really layer some footballs, have some nice touch and accuracy, working down the field. There are going to be throws that you just have to fire in there, right? They're going to be small windows, and you're going to see him absolutely throw a dart here to his wide receiver in a short window. Again, working some really nice touch, really good anticipation. You see a lot of these high caliber throws, these throws that are going to translate to the college football level. Here you see him go through his processing, right? You only have 3 guys running routes right now. You go through your processing, you see your guy lock in or come wide open down the stretch. Here's another one that I like a lot on the film. Throwing to the boundary. This is a throw that I think is one of the most underrated throws that you see in college football. When you're working from that opposite hash, throwing to that boundary, there are just not a lot of quarterbacks that have that juice in their arm to make that kind of throw. TJ Lateef, he has that juice, right? This is effortlessly going from the opposite hash to the boundary. Really impressive throw. Again, working downfield. He knows how to put it right where his wide receivers need to have it. Ball's coming out quick. I am a massive fan of TJ Lateef. I'd encourage Nebraska fans to go and take a look at some of this film because it is a fun film study to watch. Now, a couple of things that you want TJ Lateef to work on and maybe some question marks you might have. 6'1.5". That's not necessarily the biggest quarterback, but it's certainly not something that you're going to be concerned about. The thing that I'm concerned about is 13 touchdowns to 7 interceptions during his junior year. Now, he battled some injuries that junior year. You want to see that touchdown to interception ratio kind of go get a little bit better going into his senior year of high school. But that kind of goes to the idea where TJ Lateef's a guy that he is going to make a lot of NFL caliber throws. He is not afraid to throw it into some of those small windows. And when you have that mentality, you're going to make some mistakes. And I think the biggest thing you want to see with TJ is, hey, if it's not there, you don't have to fit it in, right? And kind of, I guess, getting a little bit more comfortable in terms of what throws can you make and what throws should you not make. And if you see that progression, this is a very exciting quarterback that has a live arm. You didn't really get to see on the film that we showed the ability to extend plays and use his athleticism, but I promise you he is a very good athlete, can extend plays, can pick up the chains when he needs to with his legs. Very exciting quarterback prospect. And again, if you can get him locked in after that spring game, going into the summer months of recruiting with your quarterback locked in that 2025 class, it all of a sudden gets really easy to start recruiting those tight ends and recruiting those wide receivers. You look at how you want to build a class. You want to get your quarterback locked in because what are the wide receivers, what are the playmakers looking for? They want to go to a good offense, but they want to know who's throwing them the football. And you have Dylan Rhule and Danny Kaelin locked in the 2024 class, and then TJ Lateef in 2025. That is a very exciting quarterback room for wide receivers, tight ends, running backs to go play for at the college level. Appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. Again, we'll continue to update you guys as Nebraska builds out this class in 2025. Appreciate y'all rocking with the fellas. If you guys do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later.